Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. Welcome to the show. Glad that you could join us tonight. We have, as usual, two wonderful authors that we can't wait for you to meet. And remember to like, share, follow, and comment. We love your comments. For those of you that join the show regularly, Paul Hollis, who's often in the audience with you, texted us and said that unfortunately he wouldn't be able to make it tonight, so we'll miss him. Hello, James. Glad to have you aboard. Ahoy back.
For anybody that watches the show on YouTube, if you go back and look at the old shows, go ahead and go to the lower right-hand corner, click on the icon and subscribe. And every time a new one is uploaded, you'll get a notification. And we need more subscribers. So our second guest tonight, so for the second half hour, is Tampa's own author, SANDIE Will. She's an award-winning psychological thriller author. So stay tuned and catch that second half hour. There will be book giveaways, both half hours. And first up is sci-fi and crime thriller author, Richard CEZAR. So let's give him... CEZAR, sorry, Richard CEZAR. And so let's give him a big welcome. Hi, Richard.
Hi, Rob, Joan.
Can you believe he mispronounced your name?
After all that practice.
After all that practice.
Oh,
see,
wow.
The thing is, people, we've called him in our heads for years now, 8 years or something, Richard CEZAR. Of course, his name is not CEZAR, it's Caesar. So
I've been called a lot worse, believe me.
Hello, Trish. Welcome to the show. I'm glad you could make it. Yeah, that's embarrassing to say the least. But anyway.
So, Mr. CEZAR, how did you get started with writing? How did you get interested in it?
Oh, okay. It really wasn't. It wasn't a venture into writing novels. It was more kind of a thoughtful recollections that I was having and journaling about my past. And I wanted to document it because I felt like if I didn't, it would somehow get lost.
Okay.
The experiences would get lost somewhere in the pages of history and never be found again. And that sounds a little dramatic, but anyway, I was writing this, and when I finished it, I looked at the end of the journal and I thought, well, I want to get it published, but it just seemed too dry to me. So what I did is I looked at it from a different point of view, from an autobiography to a semi-autobiography, which gave me the license to lie, basically.
Instead of a license to kill, right?
Yeah, yes. So I threaded a kind of a plot through it that was an imaginary plot to try and pull things together. And when I finished it, that was the first book, which you probably, maybe you're not even aware of, called MP. And that's out of print now.
Right.
Then as I had the cover made for that book, the people who were making the cover were entering a venture into the publishing business. And I got in a conversation with the owner of that business called Expert Subjects.
Is this the one?
No, it was before that. It was just called MP with a you go
just
to
MP.
Yes,
Okay.
just MP with a helmet liner on the cover. So
Okay.
like I say, it's not available anymore through Amazon.
Okay.
So when this person came along that had done my cover, both covers, all my covers actually, he offered to publish. He was getting into the publishing business and he wanted to publish my book. So he had his editor look at my book and changed it enough such that substantially it could carry a different title. There's certain parameters that are necessary for it to carry a different title. So with
Okay.
his editor, I rewrote it and released an American MP. And, it was sort of one of these things that at the end of it, when I looked at the end of the book, I thought, this isn't half bad. But that's all I said.
That's this one. An
Yes.
American MP in Korea, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that was your first one, and
First published. Yeah.
That's the one. That's the first one I remember.
yeah, me too.
Yep.
Me too.
If you go to Amazon, they'll show the other one, but they'll show it's not available.
No longer available. Okay. That's
Okay.
cool.
Cool.
I was wondering too, then you went into a lot different. This is very different.
Yes. The first one, like I said, was semi-autobiographical. This is science fiction. And it had to do with my concerns over the direction that people were taking in the world with regards to climate, those kinds of issues, where we were headed as a species, if you will, and it was kind of a slam bam story of where we could end up if we didn't watch ourselves.
Oh, that's really interesting, because I was going to ask you, where do you get your ideas from? But you've already answered that for both of those books. So that's very cool. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Tom.
He's
And
saying
hi,
hello
T-Roy.
to you too, Richard. Yes.
Oh, hi, Tom.
Yeah. T. Roy said hello. Trish said hello. James said hello.
My glasses on.
There you go.
There you go.
I might be able to see with them.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Well, that's really interesting. So that's what got you started down that road.
Yes, and I didn't intentionally begin writing, but once I started writing, I couldn't stop. Let's put it that way. I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
Kind of an addiction, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
In the Robes of God, can you give us a little, I know you already talked a little bit about it. Can you kind of give us a synopsis, a short synopsis about it?
It's from a single protagonist point of view, who has friends that have developed a computer that is a nano computer, if you will, not just ones or twos or zeros or ones rather, but can be zeros and ones or zeros, ones and threes and all at the same time. There is a nano computer, I think, that Google has now in its infancy still, but they use this to analyze and find out that there is a force under tow to how can I put it? Put the world in a situation that can be taken over by other forces.
Ooh, okay. That sounds pretty cool.
I hope it's not reality.
Well,
I know.
Situation that kind of scares a lot of people because we don't know where we're going, but we never know where we're going,
Well, that's true. I often don't know where I'm going.
That's so true.
That's true.
That's very true. Someday I'll tell a funny story about a book that I'm writing about that. This was your second one, apart from Destiny?
Yes, and that is the second in the series of Robes of God.
Yep.
And that more or less shows where things end up, can end up.
Could end up, yep.
Yes.
And then there's this, Premeditated Justice, which I'd like to mention at this time will be the book giveaway tonight.
Yes.
So you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah.
Hi, Joe.
I'd like to say all these books. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
I'd like to say with all these books, I have some sort of spiritual, something spiritual touched me, but in actuality, it's something that occurs to me about the world or something around me. And I start with the end of the book, the point I want to make.
Oh, that's so interesting.
And then I find an avenue to get there through the book. And I just follow the characters along that path and write down what they say, as it's been said by others.
Oh yeah, yeah. We were talking about that actually on the last show, about how some of us don't know the end of the book when we start writing a book,
Right.
and
Right.
some people have to know the end of the book and then they start writing the book, and we don't know the end of the book. It's kind of like the characters take us there, but I think all of the authors we've had on say the characters do what the characters are going to do.
Right.
And you just said you found that to be true too, even though you know what the end of the book is going to be.
Many
They bring
times,
you there the way they want to go.
many times I'm surprised at what they say.
Right?
Yeah, right.
I know.
It's like when your computer's closed, they're in there they're in there thinking and talking. Okay, we're going to go this way. I don't care what he says.
They're rattling around. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Or you get stuck because you're trying to make them do stuff they don't want to do.
Exactly. In a believable manner, you know? It's
Oh,
hard.
right.
Sometimes it's hard to make fiction believable. And in my second book, that was a couple of I had a lot of great reviews, and I think there were 2 negative reviews, but it seemed like one knew the other one because it was almost identical.
There you go.
Maybe the other one was the one,
Who
just
knows? Who knows?
commenting under 2 different names.
That's
Anyway.
right. As a matter of fact, I didn't want to get into that but I proved that through Goodreads. You know, that was
I figured.
Yeah. So in any case, they said it was unbelievable, and I thought, what do you mean unbelievable? They said it's a good story. I like the story, but it's unbelievable. Well, it's fiction,
It's fiction. How could it be unbelievable?
And it's science fiction. So, some of the comment was, I thought that, it was unbelievable. And I'll give away a little bit at the beginning. For a young woman in her basement to have been able to develop this powerful computer. Somebody made that comment, And I found it fascinating that they used woman. Why would it be a young woman is incapable as opposed to anyone who's a young
in
person?
their basement? Right.
Well, I remember 2 young men that started something in the garage, and it's called Microsoft.
Exactly. But they made it specific to like how
A
could
woman.
woman do
Right.
this?
Right.
Like to,
But
it would be more believable if it was a young man. In other words, they were inferring.
Uh-huh.
Wrong.
Sure. Well, we like to be barefoot pregnant and at home all the time.
So Joe Congle commented here, totally agree. The characters run the show. You can't force them to go in a direction if they don't want to go there.
That's right, Joe. Joe's going to be on in a future show.
Thank you, Joe.
While we're kind of stopped here on a little thing here, let's announce the book giveaway.
Okay.
The first 5 people to email Richard_Caesar, CEZAR @ATNT.net will win an ebook copy of Premeditated Justice.
Okay, just one correction. It's not AT&T like the phone company. It's
ATT.
just ATT.net.
Well, okay.
For those of you who are listening and can't see.
And that will be Premeditated Justice.
Yep.
And that's that book right there is the one that you're going to get.
And good, while we're talking about all this, wait a minute, we got another comment here. Trish says, I've heard that criticism of Veronica Mars. A little teen girl couldn't be a detective. Yeah, well, I better I better not get into that.
The little teen part, okay, but why do they have to put a little teen girl or a little teen woman?
Right.
I never understood the difference. Why people make that distinction.
Why does it have to be that descriptive?
So anyway, enough on that.
Well, yes. So I want everyone to know how to reach Richard and how to find his books. You can always find him on Indie Book Source, of course, and on Amazon. But his Facebook, he's not on. He's not on Indie Book Source.
Not yet, but maybe someday he will. Hint, hint.
Facebook, his Facebook r.CEZAR, CEZAR. Oh, this is so hard for me, Richard, seriously. Twitter @Richard_Caesar. And that's RICHARD_CEZAR. And the reason it's hard is because in my head, I've been calling him CEZAR for the last 8 years or so. Instagram, Richard.Caesar. Email, Richard_Caesar@att.net. And that's where you can email to get your free books.
There you go.
Do it now.
Yeah. Get typing.
Incidentally,
Okay.
you mentioned premeditated justice so kindly.
Yes.
This book is written from the point of view of a young woman. So I had to try and think like a woman. So the protagonist in this book is a woman, a female psychologist, prison psychologist. So
Yeah, the cover is awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
Did
Thank
you
you.
design that yourself?
no, it's the same people that I told you about.
Okay.
Who designed my first cover. They designed all my covers with. It's sort of like I give them a sort of paste up image of what I want, and then they put it together, and it goes back and forth, a couple approvals, and they really come up with some creative stuff. So
Yeah, it's definitely awesome.
Was
I
it
like
your
that.
idea, the knife on balancing the scale?
That's the part I like the
That's
most.
the part
yeah.
I like.
yes,
Wow.
That was your idea. So that
I
was
got
a
a-
good
I
idea.
got a lot of feedback on Robes of God too. I think that cover is rather striking. You know?
I love that cover.
It is.
That's
It's really cool.
That's really awesome. You know, I love it. I really do. And this
But
is
as they say,
they're all good. That's
can't
good
you-
too.
Can't judge a book by its cover, but you know, somebody might lift the cover.
Yes. Oh, hi, Jan.
Hi,
Jan
Jan.
says, I agree. Great cover. Yeah,
Hi, Jan.
they're all really good covers. For those of you joining late night, you're probably wondering how come Paul Hollis is being so quiet. It's because he's not here. He couldn't come tonight.
So, Richard, can you tell us a little bit about, like, a synopsis about premeditated justice?
Yes, as I mentioned, it's from the point of view of through a woman's eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and it has to do with Native American people as well.
Right.
Oh,
That's
cool.
That's the part I was interested in.
And the reason I bring them up in the book is because I believe, you know, these days, how can I put this gently and not politically, but a lot of groups are demonstrating, you know, it's sort of like demonstrating for the rights to demonstrate. And many minority groups are doing this, and, you know, women's groups, Black groups, Hispanic groups, Asian groups. I mean, just name any minority group. And I haven't heard anything from Native Americans for years. And it seems to me like they have been the ones that have been almost the most put upon. You know, their land has been taken away from them and given back, and well, I say given back to them in small parcels. So I kind of felt for them, and I thought I wanted to give them a little bit of a voice in this book. And so, without giving too much away, because it is a new release, it follows. It's taking this female psychologist down a road trying to track down a serial killer, and she becomes. Well, I can't. You know, I have to zip my lip here.
That's a good idea. Don't give away too much.
Don't give it away.
But which tribe is it?
She encounters these Native Americans who sometimes help and sometimes are not so much help in her journey toward discovering who the serial killer is.
Now, this takes place up in Wisconsin, right?
Yes.
Okay.
In various cities in Wisconsin.
In which tribe is it that of Native Americans? Or is it no particular tribe?
Well, yeah, it's a tribe, but it's meant to be more, how can I put it? I don't want to lock in on a certain tribe because it's more general, and frankly, I don't want that tribe to be offended if I get some things wrong about them, you know?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
got
it's
it.
more like a fictional tribe.
Well,
Sort of.
No, it's
Here's what Trish Pukin said. I watch and read a lot of true crime, and Native Americans and First Nation cases need so much attention. Just Google the Highway of Tears. I'm glad you wrote about this. Yep, we took our some of our children on the
Trail of Tears.
The Trail of Tears and ended up in OKC, and so it's a cause that's near and dear to us. George Dismuke says, "Uh-oh, I'm late, but I'm here. Just got to the house."
Hi, George.
Hi, George. Welcome. Glad to see you. Yeah, it's I'm glad you are bringing this to light. It's a good thing, and there's a lot to be said for that. You know, it's sad. It's really sad.
Indeed.
Especially now with COVID, they're really struggling.
There is another kind of a buried, well, it's not so buried. It has to do with whether we inherit certain traits or whether it's environment that affects us. Basically, not just to be serial killers, but our actions in our life. So that's in this book too.
Yeah, Trish was pointing out that the Trail of Tears is different from the Highway of Tears, which I didn't mean that they were the same. I just said that we took our kids on the Trail of Tears. The Highway of Tears is in Canada and a bit of the US, but yeah, it's all hard. It's all difficult. So that's your new book anyway, and it sounds really good, and we don't want to give too much away. Premeditated Justice.
I don't mean to be so mysterious about the name of this tribe. I just don't want people going back and researching this particular tribe and thinking it's about them. It's about Native Americans in general. You know, in the book, I identify it. You know, I go into detail, but that's not what the book is about. It's about the Native Americans in general. You know,
you can be as cryptic as you want to be.
you wrote the story.
It's your prerogative.
To be.
And it doesn't bother me at all. No. I'm sure it doesn't bother the audience either. Oh my goodness, time is passing quickly, isn't it?
Sure is. You have anything new coming up that you're working on yet?
I've got a few ideas I'm tossing around, but just had a little bit of an issue in my family. My daughter came down with COVID, and but she's just very small symptoms, slight symptoms, and she's overcome those symptoms in the first couple of days, and she's finishing the quarantine. So it looks like she's going to come out the other side okay. So I'm glad for that.
That's good news. Yeah. One of our daughters also got it. She's vaccinated and she got it, and her 12-year-old son got it. But they're both, well, he's fine now, but she's still trying to get over it.
You know, if I can just jump in here about this idea about environment or inheritance of traits, because this book has a lot to do with that.
Nature or nurture.
When I was a lot younger and was unhappy, I was seeing a psychologist, a woman psychologist, and we were talking about this, you know, and she said, "Well, George, you know, Richard, when you were young."
Whoops.
You know, when you were young, yes, exactly. Well, I might as well tell. I think we're in a closed community. It's okay. My real name is George. This is a pseudonym, Richard Caesar. So I don't have any problem with that. The public at large, I don't want to know that about. So there
you go.
So in any case, she said, "George, you know, when you were a kid, there are certain things your parents did that you didn't like, and you said, 'Boy, I'll never do that when I raise my children.'"
Yeah.
Say that to yourself when you're a kid.
Yeah.
And there are certain things they did and say, "When I have children, I'm gonna treat my children that way too." You pick out the good things and bad things, and they stand out in your memory as an adult. And then she said this. She said, "All the rest of it, George, you become." everything else you become, because you feel that is normal.
Yep.
And it doesn't stick in your mind at all. This started out with an idea of a woman, happened to be a woman, pulling Kleenexes out of her robe when she had a cold. She said,
Yeah.
"Hey, my mother used to do this. I don't know why I do this."
My mother did that. My mother did that. I have not done that.
So you hated it and you resisted it, right?
I resisted it. But my sister, my late sister, she's passed away but anyway, I remember when our children were little, and she came to visit and stay with us for a couple of weeks. And she said, "I hope your mother is giving you a fudgicle every day, because when we were growing up, every time the ice cream truck came, your mother wanted a fudgicle." And of course, our parents wouldn't buy her one every day. And she used to pitch a fit and say, "When I grow up, my children will have a fudgicle every day." And she told my kids that. I couldn't believe it. They were all like, "We want our fudgicles."
So in any case,
my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
My mom did all kinds of crazy things. This is our son, Sean. He's talking about me. Thanks, Sean.
John, do you do all those crazy things now?
Sean, did you hear Richard? He wants to know if you do all those kind of crazy things now.
I think he does those and more.
And I never pulled Kleenex out of my robe, did I?
In the book, it's much more serious than that. It has to do with
Love you too.
In the book, it has to do with serial killing people. Does that seem normal to one?
Over cereal.
Wow.
Over cereal, right? Oh, no. You meant a serial killer. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
I love your crazy things too, Sean. Like your avatar, for example.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, we're about
funny.
time to do our commercial thing here.
Yeah.
And I hope everybody had a chance to get in there to try to get a copy of
to win an ebook. Hey, Sean, you can get an ebook of Premeditated Justice. Can you run by that what that is again?
Put that back up. Yep.
All right. There. Book giveaway. The first 5 people to email Richard_CEZAR at att.net will win an ebook copy of Premeditated Justice. So go ahead. It's free. It's fun.
And from the book trailer, I might add, it looks fabulous. So, and the book trailer is really good too. Sorry we couldn't technologically get that arranged for you
Americans in
today, but
I wish I'd been better at promoting it.
Well, if I had,
a lot, so I do that a lot.
Trish says it's hard to know what makes a serial killer, though.
It is.
Yeah, nature or nurture, right? The old
it's hard to know what goes
conundrum.
on. There's a million stories in the Naked City.
That's what they say.
Yeah, I know there's a woman that I'm aware of who wrote a book about All in the Family, about a family of killers, 3 or 4 generations of killers. So it doesn't mean that you feel that's necessarily normal, but you've grown up around it.
Yeah, it's a hard one to figure out, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and take our break for a few commercials. When we come back, Sandy will be joining us.
Stay tuned, folks.
And so sit tight. There'll be another book giveaway in the next half hour.
Yes. We'll be right back. At Indie Booksource, you can shop by genre or by author, and you will be buying direct from the author's main purchase link. We offer hundreds of titles in formats that include ebooks, paperback, hardbound, and audiobook. Support an indie author. Visit indiebooksource.com today.
Oh, yeah. Life just got sweeter now that WLFE DB has merchandise. Show your support by purchasing your t-shirts for WLFE, Paratalk Radio, Inside the Drag Closet, and more. But it doesn't stop there. t-shirts, coffee mugs, tanks, buttons, cloth bags, and more. Go to WLFE-DB.com. On the top bar, click on the merchandise tab and bam, there you go. You got merch. Support the shows. WLFE-DB.com.
WLFE Digital Broadcast Network presents Variety Unlimited Television. Watch shows like Meet the Author Podcast, The Bipolar DM, Just Cindy, Card Pulls and Coffee, Unfiltered Talk with Bryce, and more. That's right, our shows are your shows on WLFE Digital Broadcast Network. And now, back to the show.
Hi, Sandy.
Hi, Sandy. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
We're doing good.
Can you hear me okay?
Well, that was quite a... Yes, we can
Yes.
hear you just fine.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, good.
That's a good thing.
So,
That's a good thing.
Sandy, tell us a little bit about how you got involved in writing, what motivated you, etc.
Well, actually, I wrote my very first short story when I was, I think, in 5th grade. It was about a piece of paper that got tied up in this garbage truck, and it wasn't supposed to be there. And so it finally found its way home without getting torn. I remember that one as a kid.
That's really cute. I like that.
It's quite a mystery.
It'd be a good kid's book. Seriously,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
And when I was a teenager, I started to write a haunted mansion book that keeps, its occupants prisoner. But I really didn't think of myself as a writer at all until later in life. I was a technical writer for my scientific and my career, but never thought about fiction until I was probably in my 40s. And I had read a book and I didn't like the way it ended. So, and I thought, that's pretty pompous of me. I've never written a book. Who am I to say? Hi, Joan, I see you there. And so I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and write a book. So I did. And it was actually a time travel. I have not released that book.
In time, you will.
It needs to be rewritten, and it needs to be written darker too, because that's what I write now. But yeah, I tried it and I ended up really liking it a lot, and then just kind of fell into it.
George just said, so sorry to be late. I've been as busy today as a one-armed man sorting wildcats in a burning hayloft. That's would be very busy.
That is
George.
awfully busy. You deserve to rest, George. Oh, my goodness.
I know. Anyway, why did you decide to go dark? What motivated that?
Well, after I wrote the time travel, I wanted to see if I could write dark. It was important to me that if I did write dark, that I could snap myself right back out of it. I didn't want it to linger after I'm writing. But I had watched horror flicks and psychological thrillers since I was probably, before my mom knew I did, maybe 9 years old or so.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty young. I don't know. I like that feeling of being scared. And I remember when I was younger, and this is going to age me, but I remember I had a TV and it had the static, and then it flickered. I watched Carrie by Stephen King during, all through those flickers. I was that determined to watch it.
There you go.
That was a good one.
It was.
That was scary.
Yeah. And
I still remember
my mother did not
coming up.
watch that. But no, I just always really liked movies, and I also levitated towards reading material that was also dark. And
You levitated?
No, she didn't mean.
Oh.
You meant.
Oh my goodness.
Gravitated.
Okay.
Or maybe you did.
Maybe you did levitate.
Anyway, you gravitated towards that. Who knew what you
gravitated.
No worries. Sorry
talked
about
a
that.
lot about levitation as well.
And I was thinking about Carrie too. I think didn't she levitate a little bit? I don't know.
No,
Yeah,
I just remember. Did
think
she at
on
the
this-
prom?
At the prom on this.
Yeah, the blood was all over.
All the
Yeah.
blood, yes,
Ugh.
all the blood. That's what we all remember about Carrie. Oh, so much blood here. So yeah, you can see that this is a little dark. The caging at Deadwater
How can
Manor.
you tell? I don't know.
Yes, that's
Interesting story behind that. Would
Yeah?
you like to tell us about that?
yeah, sure.
The story behind the story?
So so I was looking for material to write a dark book, and I was having a hard time coming up with what I wanted to write about. So my dad, he used to work at psychiatric hospitals in New York and Florida. So I kind of, talked with him about his experiences there. I remember he used to come home really upset when I was 16, about work, but he never really talked about it. So anyway, I was like picking his brain and found out, that he found 2 human cages in the attic of a psychiatric hospital. And there was also a chain hanging from the rafter with handcuffs at the end of them. And
Wow.
I just got thinking, wow, could you imagine being stuck in one of those cages? And they were you could stand in them. There was the size of a twin mattress. They were on wheels, and one was pink and one was blue, like nursery colors. And I just thought that was the creepiest thing ever.
That's almost creepier than the handcuffs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Sean does have a question for both of you. When you write, do you have a method that is based on an overall rigid story arc, or is it idea and character driven that takes on a life of its own? You want to answer that, Sandy?
Sandy?
Yeah.
You want me to put the question back up?
Well, let's see. Usually a character will pop in my head. That's usually like the main character. I don't necessarily know why or, what I'm developing during that time. For instance, with my next book, The Takings, the character showed up and I could see the back of him, like like his shoulders from behind, and a chain. And I didn't really know what the story was going to be then. So it kind of developed just from my, thinking about it. And I was thinking about it for a year or two before I wrote that book. So
you don't write from an outline.
I do though.
You do though. Okay.
Yeah,
so you use both. You use an outline and then your characters flesh it out.
Well, usually characters first, and then as I'm thinking about it, I'm outlining it in my head, and then I'll start with a real true story arc and character arc. I'll start writing it down from there. So,
Okay.
I use Scrivener, and so there's an area in there for character information and things like that. So that's pretty much what I do now. But in the beginning, like with Deadwater Manor, I just did it all natural.
Yeah, just wrote it.
Wrote it, let the character take me. So I've kind of done it both ways. Yeah.
You want to tell about the book giveaway?
Yeah, on Sandy's book giveaway, the first 5 people to email sandy@sandywill.com will win an ebook copy of The Takings.
And The Takings is the one that she was just talking about. Here it is. Here we go.
And these are brand new covers too.
They are brand new
They're
covers.
really
we
good.
really,
She just,
we really like them.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just had it redone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did
so
you-
The
did-
Takings is about a kidnapping, obviously.
That's
There you go.
hence The Takings.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also a psychological thriller.
Yes. It's
Yes.
about a very disturbed person who is
Oh.
the kidnapper.
Oh boy.
And, that person is revealed in the book kind of midway. And then you get to see what is going through his mind and what he's doing, almost like you're over his shoulder for the rest of the story.
Oh, that's a
That's an
very
interesting way to do it.
scary perspective, isn't
Yeah.
it? I mean, that can really creep you out big, knowing why the crazy person is kidnapping somebody. Let me quickly tell you where you can find Sandy. On Facebook, it's author Sandy Will, AuthorSandiewIll. And on Twitter, it's Sandy Will Books. Her website is sandywill.com. Easy peasy, Sandy. And like we just said, the email is sandy@sandywill.com.
I sense a theme here, a
It's
running theme. That's
Sandy Will.
makes it very easy.
It is easy.
Yeah.
I like that.
Good deal.
That's
I
easy.
try.
That's probably the way you write too. It's probably very, right?
Yeah,
No.
it's well, it's structured, but I do let the characters kind of take me
Right.
away.
Yeah.
And I don't know the ending usually when I write it either.
Okay.
So, yeah.
See, we never know the ending.
yeah.
But for Richard, he knows the ending and fleshes
Yeah.
out the
Yeah, it does the opposite. Yeah.
yeah. And last week, one of the people in the audience said that Lizette Brody, you probably both have seen her on Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that, but she has said that she has the ending first and then she writes the story. It's funny how we all fall into different categories, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
It seems like a lot of us have to know the ending and some of us have no idea. We're in the group of, we don't know where we're going.
But we're having fun getting there anyway.
Yeah.
So you've got one that's brand spanking new.
Let's
I
put
do.
that one up.
So that one's the
Replacings.
Replacings.
Mhm.
It is available for pre-order right now on Amazon. And it will be released September 4th. So that's next Saturday, not this Saturday, but the one after that. So this follows the story of the takings, but it's 7 years later. It's not considered a series. It's a standalone. So if you haven't read book 1, you don't have to, to read book 2.
Right.
basically.
Right.
But if you want to know the backstory, definitely, the takings gives you that. And so it's a continuation of the same characters and what's happening in this sort of next phase. And there's new victims in a
Oh,
new
good.
place.
I think.
Always new victims.
Yeah, I love the way Sandy laughs when she says that. There's new
We
victims.
have new victims.
She's so pretty and she looks so sweet. And she said, and I have new victims. I love the cover too. For those of you that can't see the cover who are just listening, it says The Replacings, which is the title, but then it says he will replace the family he lost, ... whatever it takes. That's creepy.
And it's always a guy in a hood, right?
Well, in England it is for sure.
Well, it was on that cover
I
too.
know.
Maybe he took the train there
Yeah.
from England. I don't know.
Yeah, where do these all take place in Florida?
Let's see. So Deadwater Manor is in the Holiday Tarpon Springs area.
Of course.
Yeah, nearby. The Takings is in Green Swamp, which is in Polk County. So it's
Oh my goodness.
in Polk County. And the most recent one is up near Gainesville. So yeah, I kind of hit different areas in Florida.
Yeah. Promoting tourism.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I might be chasing them away though.
Well, we have been growing too fast, so maybe we should chase away a few.
Make
Maybe.
the next one in Tampa,
Yeah.
will you? Joan says, love the cover. We love the cover too, Joan. It's awesome, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah, I have a graphic artist that's just fantastic. And yeah, I've been super happy with the redos. So
yeah. No, seriously, you can tell by looking at your covers that you're going to read a dark story.
Yeah.
that's the idea.
There's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
And you seem like such a nice person too. I'm only teasing. I love Stephen King. When I was younger, I loved The Twilight Zone when it was actually on and it was new. That I loved watching that. I don't know if you guys ever watched The Twilight Zone, but there was this one where yes, okay. So do you remember the one where the little boy who was about 3 would pick up the toy phone and talk to his dead grandmother? Oh my God. Freaked me out so bad my kids could never have a toy phone.
No, we never bought him a toy phone. It freaked us both out, quite frankly.
And now we're
very
paranormal
disturbing.
investigators and we beg for people to talk to us on digital devices.
I think we should get us a toy phone. It seemed to work on, Twilight Zone, but never thought of that.
So
it's wireless.
Trish says, Sandy, what do you think makes a very good bad evil character? That's a good question.
Well, for me anyway, it's someone who absolutely loses control of their mind. You don't know what they're going to do next. It's totally unpredictable. And so, it's things that touch things that might bother you. So in other words, with the Takings, for instance, I'm touching into a parent's fear of having their child stolen, right? So, it's somebody who is, really getting to the core of fear for someone, to me anyway. And that's what I try to capture with it.
That's a real fear. I mean, that's...
George has this to say about Tarpon Springs. Thank you, George. Another great tourist thing. I know Tarpon Springs very well. Used to live there as well as Silver Springs. Greeks and freaks. And yeah, well.
Come on, tourists.
Yeah, come on down.
You're welcome.
And James said, I know that episode. Right. It's a creepy one, right, James? It's so scary. Oh my gosh. But yeah, that does, I mean, you're not just whistling Dixie. That does touch on the fear of every parent, is that to have your child abducted or any child abducted, and abused.
The other thing with the Takings is that main character is struggling with a loss of his own. So the reader has a struggle between feeling sorry for the victim as well as the kidnapper. So I try to pull that in there where I want the reader to kind of feel sorry for the abductor as well. So because there is a big backstory. So I try to play with the mind of the reader that way, of that struggle there. So
well, you have to humanize the evil guy anyway,
right?
I mean, it can't just be a monster,
right?
I mean, I don't think anyone's all good or all bad anyhow.
Yeah, and in the Takings, there's more like Stockholm syndrome and things like that happening to the kidnapped victim, and his struggle with that abductor-abductee relationship, and and the empathy that goes along with that for the victim sometimes, not always, but sometimes. And so there's a big struggle there with that character on, can I leave? If I have the opportunity, can I leave? Because this character is used to taking care of the abductor. So So I tapped into that part as well.
Well, we all saw that played out on the press with Patty Hearst, right?
Yeah.
She wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
Let's see. Trish says, when you read enough true crime, you realize a few out there are just plain evil. Rare, but they exist. Oh, I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
Yes. For sure.
There are some really evil people.
Yeah. I'm not one of them.
No. Oh, this is a great question. George says, Sandy, do any of your stories have a happy ending?
Yes.
That is good news.
And I'm not telling you which one.
Oh, you'll have to read them to find out which one has a happy ending.
And there's there you go.
Sandy really is sweet. After reading her books, I think I should sleep with one eye open. Ha ha.
Might be a good idea.
I know, he looks at me like, do I know you? And people at work too, they're always like, this just doesn't seem like you. And some of the language in there is horrible too. So I don't usually talk like that at work.
But now they know you know it, so they better not cross you.
They should all be happy.
Who knew those words?
They should all be happy because that's your release for all those, for that side of you.
This is what I really think of you.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, a lot of authors do that. They put that in their books of, people and name them something else.
Boy, is that true.
It's pretty funny in some of our books. Some of our relatives think that some of the characters were named after them. And they all think it. Oh, you named that person after me. We're like,
no.
That's why I chose a pseudonym.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't want those people hunting me down 15 years later.
Look out behind you there, Rick.
Oh, I guess we should have told you what a broad audience we have. Sorry, Richard.
Cat's out of the bag now.
Dun, dun, dun. Well, they say that about mystery authors. Don't cross them because they'll kill you in their next book. But I think you better not cross Sandy because she'll do it with a smile on her face in some really wicked, evil, disgusting way.
And maybe not even a happy ending.
Hanging you from pink handcuffs in a cage in a mental institution in the dark.
Let me ask.
With no remorse.
No, laughing the whole way.
So Sandy, you don't have a dog in any of your books, do you?
I don't. No.
Oh, good.
No.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Don't hurt the dog.
I'm the same way when I'm watching something really awful. It's like, not the dog. They killed the dog. They've just killed the whole family, right? Including children. And you're like, but not the dog.
I know. I can't read it. If they hurt the animals, forget it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So we can all read her books. We don't have to worry. No dogs or cats will be harmed, or horses or anything else cute.
No.
So, Sandy, do you have any? Just humans, yeah.
Just humans.
Do you have anything else on the drawing board at this point
that you want to share?
That you want to share about?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I started to write my time travel over again because, of course, it has to be dark. It's not dark. It's kind of an adventure one right now. So I'm rewriting it with a psychological thriller part to it. So some kind of psycho in there with time travel. But it's about a girl from today who meets a guy from 1849 Ireland, and they're going through the Great Irish Famine. And I just, really found that history fascinating. We've visited Ireland. I saw a lot of the famine sites and things like that. And so I want to tap into the history of that while doing the whole twisted story thing too. But now I have to fit in that genre, So so I'm starting to rewrite it. And yeah, looking forward to seeing where this goes now, because like I said, I already wrote it, but it's kind of going to be similar, but not. So we'll see where I end up with it.
Sometimes that's hard to weave it together when it's already something that's on its own, right?
Yeah, I'm finding that now.
To put the pieces together so they make sense as you go forward is
plus the characters may not want to go there.
exactly. Yeah.
Well, I'm
You
starting.
may not believe in time travel.
Oh yeah, she said she's starting from scratch, really.
Yeah. So, but there is going to be romance in this book too, with the two main characters. I think it'll end up YA, young adult. My first one, by the way, is young adult. It's upper young adult because it's kind of rough. But the takings and replacings are adult. So, but this one may end up young adult. We'll see. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to writing that. I found a professor in Ireland who's willing to review the book for me and make sure that what I write about that time period is accurate. So,
oh, that's great.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that.
That's great. That's very good.
So it'll be a little while before I put it out because I work full time. So I only do this on nights and weekends and when I have time off. So,
right.
But yeah, no, I've already started on that. And I don't know how many authors are out there, but there's a whole nother side to this business.
There's a lot of authors out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the marketing and the accounting and the publishing part of it. So all that takes time, but luckily I've hired someone to do that for me this time around, so I can get right back to writing again. So I'm hoping.
Yeah, it all takes time, doesn't it?
Yeah,
well,
sure does.
I'm still into shameless promotion, self-promotion.
There you go.
I thought maybe this would be a good chance for you, Richard, to answer Sean's question from earlier. When you write, do you have a method is based on an overall rigid story arc, or is it idea and character driven that takes on a life of its own?
As I mentioned, I know the end of the book, and I do create a structure at that point, an outline.
Okay.
But I have the characters loosely developed at the beginning of the book, just identified with certain traits. But as they move along the outline, they never go the way that I want them to go. I end up changing the outline 8, 10, 15 times, no matter what, depending on which way the characters, as they develop their traits, take me. So I'm endlessly crossing things out and going different directions in my book to get to the place that I want to get in the end. But the end rarely changes that much.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Sandy, if you need an over-the-top female freak, I can... George, I can send you my third wife's bio.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't think I should comment on that one.
Okay. Let me put up her email for you again, George. Here we go.
Oh,
let's see. You can get her on Twitter at Sandy Will Books, or you can just email her at sandy@sandywill.com. He's funny. All right. Or was she the fourth? He can't remember which one. By the way, George, I'm reading your book, Siren Song, right now. And I don't want to give too much of the book away, but I'm at the part where they're in the blue hole. They're diving now. It's a good book. It's going to be a movie. I can't wait to see the movie. It'll be great. You had something to say?
I got lots of stuff to say, but
do you have anything to say to each other?
Right. That was
any questions that you wanted? I thought so.
Yeah.
Do you have any
Sandy
questions?
and Rick, like do you guys have questions or comments about anything you've heard tonight?
I found the comments really interesting, and I found Sandy really interesting. I'm going to read your books.
Oh, good. I'm
going
to read yours too. I'm going to read yours because you have a little bit of geology in there. Sounds like some climate relationships there with the earth. But no, I really like sci-fi, so I'm gonna look you up and give it a go.
It's a slam bam boom bam kind of thing, you know. It's not heavy on the characterization, heavy on the plot.
Yeah, there you go.
I appreciate both of your insights, Sean said so. And he means that
Wait a minute, is
sincerely.
he talking about us?
No, he's not
okay.
talking about us.
I didn't think
he's
so.
talking about them. The way they answered his question. Because I think Sean is interested in perhaps writing graphic novels.
Yes.
He's an artist.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Let me see. Did you do that avatar, Sean? I can't tell. But he might have done that avatar. He does a lot of art that looks very much like that.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks for your comment.
There you go. So, Sandy, what advice would you have in 1 or 2, 3 sentences, just short, to a new author who's just starting out and is all excited?
I would say don't give up, because a lot of new authors don't think they're good enough, and the imposter syndrome starts to take over. No, don't stop. Just keep going. The first draft is always rough, and you go through and you fix it as you go. Definitely, though, before you release a book, make sure you put that through an editor, a professional editor. It's very important, because if, and there are books out there that are not edited well, and that really looks bad on us indies who are following, that approach. You want to put the best product you can out there, and use editors, developmental editors, proofreaders, and put your book before beta readers and see what
beta readers.
And I think it's really, you get so wrapped up in your own story, and you're finally to the end of it, and it's all come together. You've already looked at it 100 times at least,
1,000,
and
3,000.
so you don't see the errors. You don't see them. You can't see them. You can't see the split sentences. You can't see the wrong tenses. It's hard to see because you're too close, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I had my, even as you send it through professional editors, there's always these little ones to get through. It always seems to be that way.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times the beta readers will pick those up too. Because you need
and also having your computer read it out loud to you.
Yeah, that's another.
So then if you, like we did, if you meant to say doze and instead you spelled dose.
Right.
You're like, oh, dough.
That's a wrong.
Richard, you want to answer the same question?
Yeah, I quite agree with Sandy. In my first book, the editor, when I first submitted the manuscript to her, said, "It's stultifying."
Ouch.
And I chopped a whole bunch of stuff out of it, sent it back, and she said, "It sings."
Well, that's good.
Well, there you go. Just needed a little tune-up, that's all. Right?
Too wordy. Cut.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know. We all do it.
Too descriptive, too many adjectives, it certainly wasn't Hemingway material. It wasn't, it wasn't that.
Never use adverbs. No one has to yell loudly.
but on the advice to a new author who wants to be an author is begin. Start. Don't just think about it in your mind and talk yourself out of it. Just start doing it and let things flow.
That seems to be the common thread, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's so easy to give up.
Write 500 to 600 words every day. Keep going.
I don't know how many people have told me, I've always wanted to write a book. And so I tell them, write one.
Write one.
What do you mean?
Do it.
You're going to get sick of it after you've rewritten it 3,000 times, restructured the sentences, cut out all the adverbs.
That's right.
Written it as action so that people will know that they're there. Oh.
I don't want to read the replacings again.
No, I know, right?
I better read that. Wait a minute. Thank you both, Richard and Sandy. This was a fun episode. Yeah, it has been a really fun episode. Yeah, I know. Okay. Same thing with art. Best way to get there is to try.
Yeah.
And he is a great artist, and he is constantly redoing everything. Let's see. Joe says, interesting show as always. Robin, Joan, thank you. Rich and Cindy, thank you. Joe.
Thank
My
you, Joe.
pleasure.
And Joan says, great advice. Thank you.
Thanks,
I'm
Joe.
used to doing this because of Zoom, you know.
Yeah.
When you're on mute, you know.
Well, a couple of people at the beginning I just said hello to rather than interrupt everybody. George says, very good episode. Sorry I didn't catch the top of it. That's okay,
Yeah.
George. We're always happy to have you
And
here.
you can go back and watch it.
Yeah. Yep.
So
If you didn't hear George, Paul Hollis isn't here tonight. That's why he's being quiet. He couldn't quite make it.
okay, well, we would like to thank you so much, Rick, whoever you are, Rick, George, and Sandy, all three of you, for joining us. And we're going to move you over to the side. Stay close.
Just for a minute.
Don't go away.
Don't go away.
We'll see you in the after show.
Thank you for having us.
Oh,
Thank
you. You're more than welcome.
Thank you for joining us, really.
So do you have anything you would like to add to this wonderful episode?
The only thing I'd like to add is that we won't have a show next week because some of you know I had a biopsy done on my nose and it is skin cancer. So I am going to have surgery. So we'll have to miss that show.
September 1st, no show. The next live episode should be September 8th. And we'll welcome to you too. We'll welcome the author of the Rasman Files, mystery writer Joe Congle. He's
Hi, Joe.
watching tonight. He'll be on September 8th. Also, we'll have mystery crime author Christina Weaver. In the meantime, you can watch all the episodes you missed on our YouTube channel. Indie Book Source is our YouTube channel. And like I said, while you're there, subscribe. And if you'd prefer to listen, just go to indiebooksource.com and go to the Meet the Author tab. And all the episodes are there for you to listen to.
And don't forget, after our show is inside the drag closet on this channel.
Right. So, I guess until next time.
That's all, folks. See you next week. Nope. The week after next.
On the 8th.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-DB.com.
You've been listening to WLFE-DB.com, where our shows are your shows.